So apparently life gets easier if you just do what Simon says, which is a bit confusing because my guest today is not called Simon, he's called Scott. Real life testimonial that was for my guest from none other than Elizabeth de Stadler, which could explain somewhat into the confusion. So today I have Scott Simmons with me. We can understand where it comes from. He says that he turns lawyers into rainmakers, and he actually does. This is proof. This is okay. So we have him in today, business development coach and trainer for lawyers and a rainmaker extraordinaire. So please take it away. Introduce yourself, Scott.
So hi Becky, thank you so much for having me on the show. I really enjoy these, so I'm really pleased to be here. So yes, firstly, the name is Scott, not Simon, and as you've said, I'm a toolbox for turning lawyers into rainmakers. That's how I describe myself. BD coach, consultant, trainer. Sounds a bit boring. So years ago, came up with that to sort of start the conversation. And really, what I do is I give lawyers the tips, tools, and techniques to get out into the marketplace, give great advice, and win more work.
Perfect. And I think you're right to distinguish yourself a little differently because that does sound quite boring. So yeah. Mission accomplished. So lovely to have you here. Thank you so much. Thank you for everyone tuning in today. As usual, if you've got any questions that you want to ask me or you want to ask Simon, there we go, then feel free to add them in the comment box. Sorry, I couldn't help it. So we're gonna get straight in with it, really. So as we both know, the legal profession is not taught how to go out and win new clients. That is not part of the education. So do you think, Scott, that is, in essence, the reason why they're usually terrible at
it? Yes. Without meaning to sound harsh, yes, that is because from the day that we start learning the law, university, well, whether it's A-levels, university, law school, training contracts, we're taught to do the work that's put in front of us, and no one tells us that law is a business. And so when the time comes and we have that partnership conversation, Becky, whoever, we want to make you a partner. Now, what you're going to go, we want you to go out and win work. How are you going to do it? And you sit there and you go, oh my God, I've been practicing for 10 plus years. I've never had to do anything like this before. I don't even know where to start. And on top of that, we hear things from other lawyers that say things like, well, I'm a lawyer, I don't sell. Mm-hmm. And so all of this creates this mindset, this fixed mindset that says, I don't do it, I can't do it, it's not within my remit. And yet businesses survive and they thrive on sales. And we have to start getting the message across as loudly as possible that law firms are businesses. They're businesses like any other business. It just so happens that they're in the business of selling legal services. Mm-hmm. And once we can recognize that, everything else follows. And it's actually business development, sales, whatever you want to call it, because it's all the same thing, by the way. Mm-hmm. It's actually really simple.
Okay, yes, I completely agree with that because there's so many new models coming out now. We see so many more consultants, solicitors out there doing their own thing on their own. And a lot of them I speak to are absolutely terrified. They might have a website, but it's probably a bit rubbish. They have no idea how to update it. They don't know what they should be writing about to attract new clients. They don't know what to put on LinkedIn. It is just a massive uncertainty, isn't it? You're nodding. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. We're not taught that law is a business. So all of these things seem to be things that are almost separate from us. Someone else will deal with it. I won't ever bother to learn the importance of it or what it even means or how it impacts my business. I'll do none of that. That's for other people to take care of. Yeah. The problem is that the people who are making those decisions about the website, selling, SEO, or anything to do with marketing and business development, they're all the lawyers. Lawyers are making those decisions. And so you can understand why so much of it goes wrong, so much of it never gets done. You can understand why there is absolutely zero sort of connection between marketing and BD in so many law firms. And you can also understand that when somebody's called a head of marketing and BD, they don't truly, marketing and BD, they're two massive concepts. They're two massive things. The idea that you can go through your career and get marketing right and BD and understand the full breadth and depth of it is madness. And very often when we talk about heads of marketing and BD, their background is in marketing. And yet what you need to run your business with the two of them working together.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that in mind, that takes me neatly onto my next question, which is the number one mistake that you see lawyers making with business development. So yeah, I've got a bit of an eye roll here. What's the worst culprits?
Right. Okay. So there's loads of them. The not understanding the concepts is a big one. Follow up is huge. We can talk. I love talking about follow up because really and truly that does scare the life out of lawyers. The number one mistake that lawyers make, and I do talk about this fairly regularly, is this idea that you only need to do business development when the work runs dry.
Yeah.
So when it's busy, you go, oh, right. Well, I don't need to do it anymore because I've got loads of work on. And then the work runs dry and you go, oh, right, well, I better do some BD. And then, there's always a time lag. Like it's very, very rare that you'll increase your business development and immediately the work will just start flooding in. There is always a time lag on it. Right. But what happens is that you sit there and you go, oh, I'm really busy. And then the work dries up and you sit there and you go, I don't understand why the work's dried up. I don't understand. But now I've got to do more BD to try and pick it up. And you sit there months and months and months doing this and working out why it's not having the impact that you want it to have. And no one realizes that there is this correlation, time lag, but there is a correlation between how much BD you do and how much work you get in.
Yes.
And so what we need to do is, instead of this, right, peaks and troughs, and bear in mind that the troughs always happen at the worst time.
Of course.
Worst time. What we've got to do is get to a point where we start doing BD and we reach a level of consistency, and then we do it consistently, just all the time. And it doesn't take, you don't have to put hours and hours and hours a day into it. Once you've reached the level of consistency, you could literally be doing 30 minutes, an hour a day. If you can do an hour a day, you are going to absolutely smash through winning. You really will smash through winning clients, because there's a huge amount that you can do in 1 hour. And so believing that you can go through this in your entire career with these peaks and troughs is the absolute biggest mistake. You've got to be consistent with it. You also have to bear in mind, you'll reach a point with your BD where eventually the work will start coming in, and all the work you've done, all that BD work you've done, you fall behind on it. I can't keep up with the BD because now I've got my work. I've got work in it. So you were doing 5 hours a day of business development, and all of a sudden there's work coming in. You're going, oh, I can't deal with all this. So the people that you were in contact with, the relationships that you were building, they fall by the wayside. Now, remember, some of those are prospects, referrers, your client base. They're all sitting there going, you know what? My lawyer really made an effort a few months ago, and just all of a sudden I've not heard from them.
Yeah.
Think about what that does to that prospect or referrer or client. Imagine how it makes them feel. Imagine what, that trust that gets broken when you stop, when you break those promises that you said you were going to keep because you think you're too busy.
I think that is a really good point. And it's sort of like a relationship, isn't it? It's like the early days, when you're putting in all the effort and you're wearing your best outfits, you're in your best behavior, and it's all like, it's all so much fun and you're so keen. And then all of a sudden you're getting ghosted, and then you'll be like, well, what the hell did I do wrong? It's the same.
Okay. So here's an interesting thing. There are a number of reasons why we lose clients, but one of them is complacency. Okay, so what happens is with complacency, you sit there and you think to yourself, for example, I don't need to make an effort with my clients. I've known them for years. They'll come to me when they need me, right? Or you just stop with that communication. And the same thing applies with whoever, referrers, prospects, okay, as well as your client base. What's so interesting is that we don't realize that clients, referrers, prospects, they all see that as complacency, and they sit there and they think, excuse me, they sit there and they think, hey, they're just not making an effort anymore. They were, but now, oh, right, they're saying they're too busy, they can't do this, they can't do that, they haven't kept in touch, I haven't heard from them in 2 years, whatever it is. And somebody else comes along, another lawyer comes along, makes the effort.
Yes.
And they sit there and they go, okay, well, I'll use this person because they have made the effort. They have taught me something new.
Yeah. I think BD is so important. I could talk about this all day, but for law firms especially, which often is, one of those purchases that it's like, right, okay, I've got a problem. I need it fixing now. This is what needs to happen right now. If you aren't in their peripheral, if you're not constantly there, just being a consistent presence, and not talking about being over the top and, constantly getting in touch, but just so that you're in their awareness, that is so important, because when they do have that issue, you're going to be the person that they're going to call. They're not going to be going, well, I haven't heard from my lawyer, so I don't think they really care about me anymore. I'm just going to go with this one who's showering me with affection. Right.
Okay. And there's a great example of this, your newsletters. Okay. I really enjoy your newsletters. I really like them. And they're sort of like these, regular drip feeds of information. And there was one that came through a few days ago, and it talked about, what was it, Lighthouse?
Yes. Yeah. Right. Lighthouse report.
The Lighthouse report. And, well, even that was well beyond me. But before we came on air, I was telling you about how we've been dealing with email issues and website stuff. And so I saw that, and it hit me right at the right time when we're dealing with all of this stuff. That came along, and what it immediately did was it immediately said to me, okay, right, I'm understanding Becky more and more every single time. I can see what she can help with, and when I want something, or I know somebody who can benefit from Becky's help, I'm going to reach out to Becky, and Becky's going to tell me whether she can do it, whether she knows someone who can do it, whatever. Mm-hmm. But that has had the sort of biggest impact on me, because the timing was absolutely spot on.
Brilliant.
And that was a really powerful newsletter for us.
Yeah, you just don't know, do you? Yeah,
that kind of thing. Staying in people's, eye line is so important. And we worry so much about writing too much to clients, or and yet most of us, let's say, for example, most of us will send out a proposal.
Mm-hmm.
We'll send out the proposal, won't hear anything from the client. Maybe 3 months later, we might write back and say, "Oh, just checking whether you sorted it. Is everything okay?" And then we won't do it again. If we don't hear anything, we won't do it again. The research suggests that once you sent out a proposal, it can need anything from 5 to 12 follow-ups.
Yes.
For something like 80% of prospects to turn into business. 80% of them need somewhere between 5 and 12 follow-ups. And as I say this, I know that there are going to be people watching this going, 5 to 12? Are you joking? We run businesses. Business people understand that follow-up is everything, because you didn't ask whether they were going away after the proposal. You didn't. You don't know whether they got ill. You've got no idea what their circumstances are. That means they've not responded to you. But the one thing I can always guarantee with a lot of my clients, the first thing that we will look at is, what are your outstanding proposals? How far do they date back? How often did you reach out to them? I had one client, something like 20 outstanding proposals. And I said, well, how long do they date back? And in the system, they dated back 18 months. I was like, okay, well, some of them clearly are no longer active. We need to kind of get to a point. But what you need to do is you need to follow up. And just that one activity made a huge difference to their turnover, because they actually started reaching out. We did things to improve the follow-up.
Yeah.
But follow-up's massive. We have to stop thinking. We have to stop thinking like we think, which is, oh my God, any form of selling is just atrocious. Anything like this is just, that's how we've been taught. As lawyers, that's how we've been taught. Everyone else is taught how to run a business and what it takes to run a business. And you can do all of this stuff really professionally, adding value to prospects, letting them know that they'll get the best outcome if they come and work with you.
Yeah. Oh, I completely agree. We all need to just get over ourselves. I mean, I love a follow-up, and I've completely embraced the follow-up. And I can't tell you how many clients I've won because I followed up, or even just sent like a cheeky little message. You just don't even know where it's going to go. So just get over yourself, you know, put your big boy pants or big girl pants on and just send that email. And because honestly, they're not sitting there going like, oh, I can't believe this person's emailed me again. How dare they? They're not thinking that. They're getting hundreds of emails every day, probably. You're not even going to register. So you just need to make sure that you're getting yourself out there.
Right. So what's interesting about this is again, it comes back to this idea that how we feel. Mm-hmm. We never as lawyers think about the client. We just don't. We sort of box everything in about how we feel about that. I get emails in every single day, but because I'm in that, because I'm in that space, I know that I'm going to be receiving sales emails. I will look at them. I'll look at them because there might be something in there that can help legal balance. So I would be foolish to dismiss it just because it's some kind of outbound that it's come into me from someone who does. I'll do the work. I'll have a look if I can make the time. Do you know what happens though? Is that as I get busier with things, that's the first thing that goes by the wayside. Okay, that kind of outbound stuff goes by the wayside because I have to focus in on my clients and prospective clients and building the business. You know who I do go back to though? The people who try again.
Yeah, exactly.
And the people who try again. And there's a reason for that, because I look at it as they must believe in what they're selling. If they keep trying to get hold of me, they must believe in it. If they, I know I will keep trying to reach prospective, cold prospective clients. Why? Because I utterly believe in what we do and the importance of it. If I really believe that, why would I give up?
Yes, so precisely that.
Right. And so if I believe that, then I'm looking for those people who try again, who send out a message and say, listen, Scott, sent that message last week. Don't know whether you had an opportunity to look at it. Here's why I think we can help you. Mm-hmm. Would love to have a chat. Simple as that. And then I'll sit there and I'll go, okay, well, if it's that important to them, I'll give them a go. But I'll try loads, and I won't just give up, because that's the difference. If somebody doesn't try again with me, clearly not that important for my business or them.
Yeah, I'm here for it. So I've got a couple of things to say on that before I move on, because we had a lot of feedback coming through, which is lovely. So thanks, guys. So I was just going to say something about following up and also just putting yourself out there. Like, I'll give you an example of something that happened to me earlier in the week. It occurred to me that I should be potentially reaching out to collaborate with other newsletters or maybe legal organisations. So I dropped an email to the Law Society. The Law Society people, guess who's got a call with them this afternoon? Oh, yes. That's me. So if you don't put yourself out there, you don't know what opportunities that you can have. Literally one email, it was like 2 paragraphs long. Do you fancy collaborating with something? Is there some way we can work together? Oh, you know what? Yes, Becky, there might well be. Let's have a call.
Right, 100%. And just to hit on something that Liz Smith has written in the chat, in the comments, which, by the way, Liz, you are never easily forgotten. So you don't have to worry about that.
No, you can't say no to Liz.
Can't say no to Liz. But here's the thing, yes, the problem that most lawyers have is this fear of hearing no, this fear of being told no, this fear of being told go away. Okay, it's remarkable, really, because we put so much thing on being told, on the importance of being told yes, that we're looking for the perfect email, the perfect phone call, the perfect message, the perfect this, the perfect that. Perfection doesn't exist. And so you're going to sit around for the rest of your life doing absolutely nothing because you're waiting for this perfect set of circumstances, this perfect message that people cannot say no to. And it doesn't matter how many different ways you write this thing or you say this thing or whatever you put out. There's one variable that you cannot account for, and that is the human being. And no two human beings are the same. So you're trying to perfect this singular message. And it's not going to hit home with everybody. And I forget the name of the song, but oh God, now I've forgotten the name of the thing. It says freedom's just another word.
Oh no.
freedom's just another word for having nothing to lose. And I can't remember the name of the song, but I've been using that a lot recently. Okay. Because it's absolutely true. When you send a message out, you've got nothing to lose and only everything to gain. So you can send out an email to a prospect that you sit and you go, yeah, I think they'd be great. But you have to get inside their thinking. And you're not going to get inside their thinking if you send one email and then 3 months later go back to them and go, hi, John, sent you this message 3 months ago, wondered what you thought. You're going to go, I've got no idea who you are. No. So it can't be that important. Being brave enough to take some chances and accepting that it's just not going to work with everybody gives you such this huge amount of freedom to try things out. Yeah. And I love it. I'll pick up the phone and I'll try out different sort of, call them scripts, but they're things I want to say, but I'm not sitting there going, hi, my name's Scott, I'm from Legal Balance. I've got things I want to say, and that's my script, okay? Yeah. But I will try it, and I'll try it, and I'll keep trying. And for the people who want to have a conversation, it works because it just does. You're creating human connection. People really do like to chat. Yeah. And if it's something that hits home with them, they will happily have a conversation with you. Yes, we've got it. We've got it, guys. The song's come through. Freedom is just another word for nothing left to lose. Janice Joplin, me and Bobby McGee. Thank you. Yes. Thank you, LinkedIn user. I don't know who you are, but we're thanking you. We're thanking you for that because that was going to irritate you for the rest of the day, wasn't it? It was, because I'm using it so much at the moment. And when I need it, can't remember it. Yeah, exactly that. So yes, we've had a lovely comment in saying we don't appreciate enough business development is a long range game. Good email campaigns bring 2% response. That is 98% of not answered messages. Really, really good point. Yeah. So thank you for that. I mean, my business coach said to me a little while ago, go out and get 50 no's this week. Go out and get 50 no's. Do that, and then you have less emotion attached to it. I think quite a nice way of doing that is often if you're following up on a proposal is just to say, hi, hope you're okay, just following up on this because I'm just clearing out my desk. I'm just going through my offers. It kind of makes you sound quite desperate, perhaps, because nobody wants to come across as desperate, do we? But almost like more transactional. Okay, so I've got these proposals out. I'm just tidying things up. Are you a yes or are you a no? Just so I know, please. Easy. Right. So I saw something a while ago that I thought was really impressive. So I was watching this live recording of the salespeople picking up the phone to people, and they were playing a game. Okay, they were all going to try and pick up the phone. First person to get through was then going to have the sales call. The game was you had to keep going. The three of them had to keep going until they got 10 no's. They got 10 responses saying no. If at 4, 5, or 6 they got a yes, starts again. have to get 10 no's in a row before you'll stop.
Love that.
And the reality is that these guys are very good at it. So one of them, which I have started using, by the way, because I really like it, pick up the phone and you say, hi Becky, Scott from Legal Balance. I'm going to be totally honest with you, Becky. This is a sales call. Now, I'm hoping that won't make you scream and run for the hills, but if you can give me 30 seconds, I'll tell you why I'm calling, and then you can let me know if there's a conversation to be had. It's so brilliantly effective, because nobody sits there and thinks, I'm going to actually acknowledge the fact that there are some, particularly law firms out there, that have this mindset around sales calls. And I'm going to acknowledge it right the way up front. Then I'm going to ask for 30 seconds, just 30 seconds. And if I've got my 30 seconds down right, it will trigger them to say, it'll trigger them to answer some of the questions I'm asking, and spark a longer conversation. And really, in that phone call, I'm not looking for a 30-minute call. I'm looking to get them off the phone as quickly as possible and set up a proper meeting. Set up a proper meeting if they want the conversation there. But I also appreciate that outbound cold calling, cold email scares the living daylights out of lawyers. So on our training course, the BD Breakthrough Blueprint, whether it's the in-person course or the digital course that we've created, we have a small, short section, tiny little section, about 10 minutes, on explaining what outbound is, and then acknowledging the fact that we are early days in your business development, journey. We're not going to touch on outbound in the BD Breakthrough Blueprint, because there's so much you can do before you get to outbound that we're not going to focus on that here. And I think that's really important. Outbound is what I work with clients in when they've built their confidence around everything else, where cold emails just seems like the natural next step, because they've been nailing everything else.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. And I love your shameless plug that you got in there before I even asked you about it. So that was very clever. Thank you, Scott. So just a quick question from me, actually, just while we're thinking about practical steps, because, and I know this can be an issue for a lot of people, and I had the same before I had a decent CRM in place. So you're talking about following up, and especially if you're sending a lot of messages or a lot of emails, keeping track of them can be a nightmare. So is there a way that you can recommend that people can actually do this efficiently? Because we don't want a gap of 3 months in between, because that is not going to talk about how efficient you are at all, is it?
Right. Your CRM system is your best friend when it comes to business development. Marketing and business development. Right. Okay. It is your absolute best friend. Okay. Because that system is designed to help you keep your promises. So the more information that you put into it, and then you might say, oh, well, I spoke to this person and we've agreed to catch up in 3 months. That CRM, bang on the date that you tell it to, will send you a reminder and the task list, and it will stay there until you have dealt with it. And you create that mindset around every single day. I'm going to start by looking at my CRM and seeing what the tasks are for the day. And I'm going to get those done first. It's about creating a habit. In our Outlook calendars, or we use Google, but in our calendars, you can put in, obviously you can put in your tasks for the day. But I used to remember that I'd put tasks in, and then they would just they'd kind of sit there in this thing, and I'd get like 20 tasks, and they'd be forgotten. They'd just be completely forgotten. And then I'd look back at them. I don't know how often, how much, sort of either at the end of the day or anything like this. And then I'd go, oh crap, I haven't done that. But then I'm stuck, aren't I? Because if I hit the X button or something like that, they're gone. They're not sticking around.
Forever.
They're gone, and they are forgotten. Your CRM is not going to let you get away with it until you tell it that it has been done.
Yes.
Your CRM, it'll do your marketing automation. It will give you give you your sort of visual pipeline. It will tell you where you are in the pipeline with a number of clients. You will set it up so it takes a bit of effort at the outset to do this, but my God, do you get the rewards from it? But it is about, thank you, Patricia, because that's exactly what I was going to say. It is about creating the habit. And there's a phenomenal book. If people haven't read Atomic Habits, no, it's not here.
Yes.
If people haven't read Atomic Habits, if you and I talk, oh, got another plug, talk about it in the PT.
Here it comes.
I know. That book explains to you how to create good habits and how to get rid of bad habits.
Yeah.
And how quickly you can, if with the right mindset and the right thinking behind it, how you can develop these habits. CRM, using CRM, understanding why it's so important, by the way, but using it and understanding why it's going to take your BD and your marketing to a completely different level. I can't tell you how much. But the most important thing is that we want to call ourselves, lawyers want to call ourselves trusted advisors. Okay. Now, I use that phrase all the time, but I would say that most lawyers overuse it because there's very few out there who can genuinely call them a trusted advisor, genuinely call themselves a trusted advisor. Remember, if you're not keeping your promises, that trust is broken. You can't be calling yourself a trusted advisor. Hey, listen, I make mistakes. I miss things. Things slip through the net. But as soon as they're discovered, I'm dealing with it. I'm getting in touch. I'm dealing with it, apologizing, all of that. But CRM will mean that so much less slips through that net, and you become that trusted advisor.
Yes, because can you imagine how much more powerful it is than say, "Oh, hi, Susan, hope you're okay," than, "Hi, Susan, so the last time we spoke, you said that you were having trouble with this issue. Just touching base to see if you've resolved that by now," or whatever it might be. It was your son's birthday party, whatever they've told you, put that information into your CRM. It will take you less than 30 seconds and then you have it there. It's a talking point. It's so much easier.
Right. So that's a great one. That's a really brilliant one, because what I do and what I do with all of my clients when we get to that point is anyone that you lost, any prospect that is lost, okay, that goes elsewhere, decides not to go ahead, we put in place something that, say, depending on what the timeframes are around the deal or whatever, we will then send out a message that says, "Hi, John, spoke, didn't happen, wondering if you went ahead and how you got on." Right. That message, really powerful. Why? For one of two reasons. It either went well, in which case Johnson's going to get back to you and go, "Yeah, Scott, we went with someone else, really, really good. Happy with them. Thank you for reaching out. Maybe something in the future." Okay. But you look like you care. You're showing them that you care.
Yes.
Or it didn't go well. It didn't go well. And you're there. The nicest, you're not doing, "I told you so." What you're doing is, again, you're showing that you care. You're showing that you cared enough to say, "Do you know what? We didn't end up working with each other, but I care enough to find out how it went. So I'm just going to get in touch with you 3, 4, whatever months later, around the sort of time frame that they gave you for completion or whatever, just to find out how things are going." I can't even begin to tell you the impact that has on prospects that you would consider that you've lost.
Yeah, because imagine if you're putting that much effort in for someone that you're not working with, imagine how much effort, they're thinking that they're going to value they're going to get from you when they are working with you. It's an absolute no-brainer.
Of course it is. And it's the easiest thing in the world. And if you set up your CRM, with the automation, you can either set it up to send you the reminder, or you can actually set it up so that you put the email together and you set it up to send on that date, so that you don't have to think about it in 3 months. So you don't have to set the reminder for 3 months to do it. You set it up, you've got your CRM, it's in place to send it in that 3-month period, and they'll get back to you, or you'll have set it up to say, if they don't respond, write to them again in this many days, this many times, whatever. And that is a really, really powerful way to keep in touch with prospective clients who might not have said no, but might say yes in the future.
Of course, of course. Template and automate the hell out of everything is a mantra that I stand by, because
Yes.
you might think that you're sending different emails. You're not. You're sending the same thing over and over again. So just template it and change the name around and change a little bit, and then you're done. You're making yourself is so much simpler. You're making yourself do hard work otherwise. Now we need to move on a little bit. I feel like we've been talking about CRMs for a while, which is a very good thing, very important. That's fine. So we need to talk a little bit about pricing. Okay. So today we're going to touch on about business development and pricing and the link thereof. So can you explain why this is, please?
Right. So really, really simply, BD and pricing are intrinsically linked. Okay.
Okay.
And the reason for that is that currently, because lawyers do very little business development, when the work comes in, the opportunity comes in, we price it to win. Okay, we don't price it based on the value that we think we're going to bring to it, or the value of the matter, or it's got nothing to do with the matter itself or the client. We are simply pricing it because we don't know when the next opportunity is coming through the door. So we sit and we go, okay, well, I've, scarcity mindset. Where's the next piece coming from? So I better price it just so that I've got something coming through the door, just some money coming in. What that then does is that creates an entire relationship with all of those clients where you are low price, or where you can be negotiated with, where you are in a really weak negotiating position.
Yeah.
Right. If you're doing lots of BD, it's remarkable, because you've got this nice pipeline of opportunities coming through. Remarkable the confidence it gives you to price better. Price where you genuinely think you create and add that value. Yeah. Where that you think is genuinely fair. And I've got a post lined up that I'm going to be that's due out, I think, in the next few days. When I talk about raising prices, the number of lawyers that come back and go, yeah, but Scott, we'd be ripping people off. Isn't what you're talking about just an opportunity to rip people off? And I sit there and go, well, no, because I work on the basis that lawyers don't charge anywhere near as much as we really deserve. I think we underprice ourselves, or just start to finish. We are nowhere near. Perfect example. Estate agents. An estate agent charges 1.5–2% to sell your property. No, they do not. They charge you 1.5–2% to find you a potential buyer for your property. Do you know who sells your property, Becky? A lawyer does. Because until that property is legally sound, you're not selling that property, because no buyer's going to touch it, no mortgage lender's going to touch it, no one's going to go near it until it is legally sound. And yet, who in their right mind at this stage would pay their lawyer 1.5–2% to actually do the legal work on their property? And I look at it and I go, right, we need to be getting closer. We should be getting closer to 1.5–2%. Why? Because it's us, lawyers. Yes. Lawyers are the people who sell your property. It's the same with corporate work. Corporate advisors, they charge a success fee, 2%, to find you a potential buyer or seller for your business. Do you ever hear of a corporate lawyer charging their client 2% on a transaction? No, wouldn't happen. So, and yet we sit there and we go, can't believe corporate finance people get to charge 2%. Can't believe estate agents get to charge 1.5–2%. We're massively undervaluing ourselves. And the way and the reason that other people can charge what they do and what they want has got actually less to do with industry, and more industry sort of like, market rate, and an awful lot to do with the fact that they got this pipeline. And I don't believe there's such a thing as a market rate. I don't think you should be looking at what that person over there does or charges. No. I'm not interested. I could not tell you what another BD coach or trainer, I couldn't tell you what they charge for that. I'm not interested. I price based on what I believe to be exceptional value for what I do. I'm not cheap, but I tell you something, you're going to come away from working with me shed load better off, where I'm going to look like the cheapest thing you've ever invested in yourself. That's how we should be looking at it. And until we get into this mindset of we run businesses and businesses survive and thrive on making sales, we're never going to get out of that scarcity mindset, which is going to impact our pricing. But once we're there, we will price an awful lot better. It'll be much closer to where we actually deserve to be.
I love this, like literally like mind blown. It's brilliant. And I completely agree with it all, because I do the same. And I've always got that pipeline coming through, probably because I'm a marketer, but I don't ever stop marketing my business. And that means that when I send a proposal out and someone goes, no, do you know what? It's not for me. Sounds a bit expensive. I go, okay, cool. Next. And they're not my customer. Next one, because there's another one. They're right there. Oh, I can sell to them too. Like, there's no shortage of people that we can sell to. Like, there really isn't. So, you know, find your niche, find your area, and then work there and find your clients that are actually going to pay you the money, because they will. There will be more people.
Right. Niching's a great.
Oh, niching. Oh, go on.
It's a great one as well. A number of times I start a conversation with a client and say to them, if you pick a niche, if you pick a target audience, your messaging will be so clear and it'll be so consistent. And you're not, people say to me, well, we want to work with small businesses. Right. Okay. Well, let's start with the fact that there's 6.5 million active companies in England and Wales. Okay. 6.5 million of them. A fair old proportion of them are small businesses. You want to be talking to 5-6 million small business, and you think you're going to hit any of them because you're speaking the language of absolutely none of them. Doesn't matter what industry you go into, every single profession or industry has its own language, and they are going to talk to the advisors who speak their language. And if you're trying to speak to 5.5 million, whatever, small businesses, you're going to speak to none of them. And yet for most of us, we don't need a million customers to make a really, really successful business. And yet the thought that we might actually go, do you know what? I'm going to pick that niche, that market, because I get them, I like them, you know, they seem to have a lot of money, or they do this, or whatever the reasons are, and you work through that really methodically, you do the market research. But if there's a market there and you say to yourself, well, okay, there might be 10,000 of them or 5,000 of them that fit within my, you know, what I want. You sit and you go, well, I only need 10. I only need 10 at any one time to make a really successful business. What? Yeah. From 5,000, you're convinced you can't get 10 of them?
Yeah. Yeah. People said that to me when I decided to niche into legal copywriting. Is that not terrifying? Like, oh, you're limiting yourself a little bit. Yeah. No, there's no limit. There's no limit of clients in this sector. Like, trust me, this is not a scary thing. What this means is that I can speak to people that are in the sector and say, like, okay, so you're having this problem. You're not reaching the audience that you want to reach, and you need some content. Okay, well, I'm the specialist, so you need to come to me. And
let me show you what I did for them.
Yeah, exactly. And
all of a sudden, people, they're going, oh, right, well, Becky did this for this law firm or this company. So, she can do that. And they're visualizing what their better outcome looks like because they can see it in another lawyer or another law firm.
Precisely. If you've done some really good work for a pet food shop and you're trying to sell to a small corner shop, like, how is that relevant? How can you possibly prove that the success that you've had over there with those guinea pigs can be replicated with the corner shop? Like, you can't, can you?
No, it's madness to try and go so wide and then expect people to be able to see what it might look like for them when they've got no connection to any of the examples that you're showing them. I love it when we find a really, really interesting, cool, quite up and coming niche. There's nothing more exciting because you sit there and you go, you've got pretty much free reign over this because No one appears to be looking at them. No one appears to be talking to them or about them. You got like free and getting in there early is exciting because everybody in that niche is sitting there and going, I don't know any lawyer who's talking to me about my business, my industry, right. So I'm going to have a conversation with these people.
Yeah. We've had a comment come through though, a little bit controversial. I think we might be afraid of. Oh, it's not controversial. I read that wrong. I think we might be afraid of narrowing and polarizing. If you're niching, no one outside the niche will buy, but the upside is so powerful. Yes, you are right. You are completely right. Having that niche expertise and understanding the problem is powerful, and the pricing only then can be premium, which is the main point. Because if no one else is doing it, you can charge what you like.
Right, and actually, there will always be tiers that people go through with this, where somebody wants to be the cheapest on the market, and others want to be premium. Doesn't matter how many people are in that market anyway. Let them go cheap. We'll go really hyper niche. We'll go really premium, and we'll charge the price for it. And we will explain to every single prospective client why it is that we charge what it is and the value that we bring. What's interesting about all of this is that we sit there and go, well, if we niche down, no one else will buy from us. One of my biggest clients, on just a different level, aren't lawyers. They're in a completely different professional services industry. And they are one of my biggest clients. It's what happened was, when you start talking about that one niche, what happens is that, yes, people who are in that niche start following your stuff, start looking at your things. It's amazing how many people, Becky, start looking at your stuff and going, hey, Scott, I read your thing. This applies to our industry as well. Do you ever help people in this industry?
Yes.
Yeah, I do. I do. It has never, ever stopped me from working with different people in different, whether it's wealth managers, accountants, economists, you name it. It just keeps going. It's never stopped them, because they look at it and they go, well, that stuff that he's talking about, it applies to us as well. I wonder if he's got experience of helping those. And what's interesting is that with business development, with marketing, with websites or anything like that, ends up being pretty much the same thing. The concepts
of course it
are
does.
all the same.
Yeah.
Your ability to speak their language, what you have to do when somebody comes in that's not in your niche, like I did, by the way, with my biggest, I then had to make sure that I could speak their language. I had to find out what kind of phrases and jargon they used that would hit home with them. And I had to be really careful to stop saying lawyer over and over again, which I still do. And I'll go, but it works equally with I'm so used to just using the phrase lawyers or law firms that I have to stop myself and remember that I'm working with people from different sectors, different industries.
Yeah, and that is absolutely hilarious that you said that, because my biggest client is also not in the legal industry. So there you go, people. There's a lesson to be learned there, isn't there? For sure.
Yes.
Jono's just said the same. He's just said the same. It's such a misconception that others will ignore you. They don't. I work with lawyers, but non-lawyers reach out regularly asking if I still work with them. So there you go. If you're out there and you're being confident and you're making sense with all of your content, then you will attract other people as well.
Yes.
So do it.
And the beautiful thing about the beautiful thing about Jono's LinkedIn content is that he takes a subject very similar to law and things like that most people would consider dry, and he makes it so accessible, and he makes it so simple to understand, and he makes you feel like, actually, do you know what? I can get started on dealing with this. And do you know who I'm going to call up? I'm going to get in contact with Jono, because if he's as good as this content is, he's going to just take it all off my shoulders and get it sorted for me. I honestly, Jono's his content is some of the best that
It's spot
I
on, isn't it?
see
Spot on. I
on
mean,
LinkedIn.
you can't often make pensions and saving like that exciting. Like, it's not a really interesting topic. However, Winnie goes, did you know that if you started saving money when you were 30, a little bit like for us now, Scott, you know, this is actually how much you could have had. And you're like, oh my God, are you
Yes.
serious right now? Well,
Yeah.
well, obviously, I need to start doing this now, and I need someone to help me. And oh yeah, you're the person. There you go, easy.
And here's the thing, and people say this to me all the time. Let's go, Scott, you give away so much content for free. Why do you do that? And I say exactly the same thing to them, and I say it to lawyers all the time. We live in an age with Google. And now we live in an age with ChatGPT and Gemini and all of those other things. If you want the information, if you want to go and find the information, you can go and find the information.
Yes.
Right. So it's out there anyway. So if you think you can keep it behind a paywall, good luck to you. But not just that, but how do you expect people to work out whether you're any good if you won't show them a snippet of what you know?
Yeah.
Now, the content that I put out, yes, you know what? You could probably pull loads of it together from all the different, platforms and things like that, and all the different places that I write. You probably pull a fair bit of it together and come up with some decent tips and stuff like that would get you some. But my God, you're going to have to find it, and you're going to have to put it together, and it's going to take you ages.
Yes, yeah.
Or you can go elsewhere and you can read books, or like with what you and I do, or what others do, Jono and others on here, that's our job. Our job is to simplify these things here, to keep it all in one place, to show you how you can get on with it without you having to search all over the place and spend years. It's taken me I started doing this when I first came into law. And what we teach now is the culmination of all of that, all those years of learning. And I had to do a lot of it really on my own, because basically the BD training that I was getting was go to networking events. Don't teach you what to do at networking events, which is what we now teach, but go to networking events and be a relationship builder. Absolute. I mean, where do you even start with build relationships? It's the most obscure phrase. It's just ridiculous. But
absolute bollocks.
Yeah, of course it is, because it's meaningless. It's meaningless. No one works with you, Becky, because they think you're nice. By the way, I mean you are lovely. You are lovely.
No, steady on. You've gone too far now.
No one worked with you because they think you're nice. Okay, what you did with Lighthouse has now got me thinking Becky's the sort of Becky who is who we should be working with in the future.
Accomplished.
Right. That's what you and I have spoken. We've chatted. We're on LinkedIn. I know how nice you are. I know how funny you are. It's not going to get me to say, "Yep, we should work with your Becky." That sort of stuff that you put out on your newsletter that hits home at the right time is the sort of thing that I'm going, "Yep, Becky adds and creates value." That's who we need to be collaborating with. That's who we need to be working with. All of that sort of thing. No one wants to work with an arsehole, really. They don't. But if you're really good at what you do and you add value to them,
yeah, they have to.
They're more likely to pick the arsehole than the nice person, because they don't know why they should pick the nice person. But the arsehole, at least, is there going, this is what you need, and this is what we've seen, and this is how we go about doing it. All of that. That's what really matters.
And I think that's the main point, isn't it? You're showing your audience through, which we're going to talk about in a second, the BD breakthrough blueprint. So you're showing them what to do. And I'm showing people what to do with my content, as in go to Lighthouse, do this with your website. But a lot of people will go, oh my goodness, that sounds like a lot of hard work. I don't know whether I've got that in me today. And they're going to go to the experts, as in you or I. And that's how it works. You give it all away, give away the farm, as they say, because chances are people are not going to actually do it themselves because they're not.
I always find that so funny. If you give it all away, why won't they just do it themselves? Honestly,
they won't.
Good luck to them.
Won't.
Good luck to them building the website that they want, getting the SEO right that they want. Or getting that information from on their own, all those things that you do, good luck doing it on your own, because it's not. Plus, your job isn't to be doing that. Your time is best spent on the thing that you were built on you building your business. We farm out anything that takes us away from doing the job that we do. And some people look at it and go, well, it's a cost to the business. No, it isn't. It's an investment in our business, because if I spend my time doing that, I don't know, like certain company secretarial work, so because in Gibraltar you got to renew licenses every single year. I did it once, I'll never do it again. It was a nightmare from start to finish, and we missed a load of stuff. This was all because we didn't know how it all worked. But we'd never go near it again, because the amount of time I spent doing that was so much in lost revenue, because I was taking time away where I have to push clients, set up meetings or set up coaching sessions or set up training courses for days where I wasn't doing that for a good 2 months. So that lost revenue was madness to us.
I know. Right. So we have got to wrap up, guys. This has been a very long chat, but I have loved every second of it, as I'm sure you all have as well. Jono has dropped in again. Thanks, Scott and Becky. It makes my calls with prospects just simple, confirming I sound the same as I do online. That is very true. The worst types of potential clients will think, thanks, I've got some free stuff. It's a great filter. And that is a very good point as well. So, Scott, I'm going to let you bang on about your BD breakthrough blueprint for a moment. I'm going to just check back through the comments to make sure we haven't missed anything important. So go on, tell the audience.
Thanks, Becky. So the BD breakthrough blueprint is the culmination, as I said, of 20 years of learning what it takes to go on that journey to becoming a rainmaker in the legal profession. We are coming into a period of change, like unprecedented change with AI, where over the next few years, AI is going to do those things that were traditionally seen as being the remit of lawyers. So it's going to do all the drafting and it's going to do all of the research. And you only have to take a look at some of the products that's on the market right now that are doing it. But the lawyers of the future are going to be advisors. They're going to be the people that take the work that AI has done and use it for their client specific purposes, for specific situations, specific circumstances. Lawyers are going to be spending so much more time with their clients than ever before. So understanding the principles around what is needed to build that rapport with clients, to add value to clients, to create huge amounts of value to clients so that you can win work has never been more important. And I talked about how much I believe in what it is that we sell. I can't tell you how much I believe that business development skills are so incredibly important. So the BD Breakthrough Blueprint, we turned it into a digital course that went live in January, and we're so incredibly proud of it. You can find it on my LinkedIn profile. You can reach out to me, please. If we're not already connected, please reach out to me. Renee, I know you mentioned that we should have a chat. I will find you and we'll have that. We'll have that chat.
Find you.
But it's, we love this product. We love this course so much because it's digital. It's, anywhere, anytime. It's go back to it whenever you want, learn at your own pace. And it's so fundamental to the future of the legal profession that please, if you're thinking about going on that journey to becoming a rainmaker, check out the BD Breakthrough Blueprint. You'll love it.
Lovely. Oh, that was such a smooth pitch. You're such a professional. I absolutely love it. So one last question, Jono, again. He actually asked this in the beginning, but it wasn't that relevant then. So what do you enjoy more, Scott? Helping lawyers become rainmakers or using movie quotes and analogies in your LinkedIn posts? What's your favourite thing to do? Make me know.
So what time was it? I think it was 10 o'clock last night, Jono's time, that we were writing about the Dune movies that have been out and stuff. So I love a conversation about movies. I can do it all day long. I do love sticking movie quotes and analogies in my posts. I do these BD analogy videos on movies. I've got a number of them and they're coming back soon. They've dropped off the radar a bit, but they're coming back. But I've got to tell you, John, why can't it be both? Why can't I just love them with a passion?
Exactly. And all of this is, of course, dependent on you actually remembering them too. So like the song earlier. So yes.
Absolutely.
comes with age, comes to us all though, doesn't it? So yes. Oh, this has been absolutely delightful. We have nearly reached an hour, which I believe is the longest episode that I have done. Yes. So this will be repurposed into a podcast where you can send your friends and said, you know what, I was listening to Becky and Scott and they were actually quite funny and they had some things to say. So please send some people along. We'd love to hear from you. And what else do I need to say? I probably need to tell you who is coming up next. So let me double check. Oh, of course, my calendar has now decided that right now is not the time to let me in. So we'll just ignore that. I believe we've got Isabel coming up next week who's going to talk about AI in the legal sector. So that is going to be a really interesting chat. If anybody you know wants to come and sit in the hot seat, it's a very good place to be. I might take the piss out of you slightly, but it's fun. So
it is a lot of fun.
Join.
Both me and Batman have had a great time.
Yes, exactly. You do have to be interesting, though. I have to like you, and you have got to be slightly relevant to the legal industry in some tenuous way. So please let me know. Thank you. You are all lovely. Over and out.